right. Let's get back into the swing of things. Oh shit. Alright, what we left off at, nigga, was, let me see. Oh, we was talking about the I want to get into since we dealt with the middle, give you a quick recap just for some practice. You had the shell right here, you had the baby bump right here, and all this was light. Then this light right here at the top came in from the flanks, and then once it got right here, it cut the seal, cause this was sealed off right here with a little pinhole in the middle. Once the light got right there, it cut the seal right there, causing melody, causing a flash of light, a slim slither of light come over the top and go this way and go this way and then go back and this way, creating the four paths at the top. What a great mother was or is. And then whenever all light was coming from the outside, it pretty much did the same thing on the bottom part. This is the bottom. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the spine coming down. It's the 5 pillars, the 5 supportive pillars, because they sit at the bottom. So same way it came at the top and did that. It was burning paths at the bottom as well. So now back over here. So once that light, that little thin, when that light start to, when all this light, this top layer up here, reach this point and start concentrating in the center. Once they cut that part of that little drizzle of melanin, melanin coming through, following it as it went to the center to concentrate in the middle. And it was that melanin that was following it, coming from the cut right here, was as it was following the light, it was hardening up and shaping it to another half circle down here as the light traveled to the center and concentrated at the center. So by the time that light got to the center, you had a circle right here, the other half circle, and they all shot up. But as that light was coming to the center, that melanin was following it. Once it pulled up, as soon as it pulled up and began to take its flight, you had another little drizzle of melanin came under it from both sides, well, all 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side, all 4 sides. And before it can take off and fully depart from this center, that drizzle of melanin came in contact with that light at the center and created a little seed, created the tailbone that pushed out from the center, and then the melanin that came through the flanks created a little flat plate right there, which this cluster of melanin left behind as it shot up and landed right there. That that little thin sheet of melanin with the tailbone sticking out begin served as the base or the foundation for the rest of the melanin that will come in and create what will go on to be pushed down here and become the first chakra, or the first well, really the last. Well, the first one to be pushed and made down here, but when it's all said and done, 6 more gonna push down on top of it and push it to the bottom. Now, the next thing we gotta deal with is you're gonna have melanin coming from the top, oozing down here into the flanks and creating the four what we call the 4 breasts of neat or nuke at the bottom, or the bottom of the, or basically the bottom of the earth. So you got the first one that went up, left the shell behind, the little thin layer of melanin with the tailbone sticking out, and then you had you had the layer of melanin that was right here. We just had a little thin little sheet. Then you had the melanin, the tailbone sticking out from the melanin that met up with the light right here. And the rest of this would be empty because this is up here, so it wouldn't have no roof. But then by being that opening left, the melanin gonna round that out a little bit more. That melanin gonna come in, spill right here, travel to the center, come in contact with that light in the middle, create a tailbone. Melanin gonna fall in on the top, come in contact with the light, the string of light up here. That whole process is gonna create a tailbone. It's gonna create a spine from here to here, bottom of the circle, tailbone sticking out from outside the melanin cluster. But once that you had the tailbone first with the little thin layer of melanin, once this here is fully made, it's gonna cause this melanin cluster to push down. Now, as this melanin cluster is pushing down, while it's pushing down, it's leaving. It's gonna be almost as if it's cutting right here, because it's pushing down. So when it's pushing down, it's gonna start to leave an opening on this side and on this side, but melanin to come through the top and make its way, it oozes way down here, and for light to come up from the corner, go over the top and flood what was once that with light, flood that whole circumference up at the top. And once it finished flooding that top is gonna look like that, which was originally the bottom. So that's where your letter K, when you're looking at the K, that's what I'm saying, these letters are this shit is based off of the alphabet is based off the shape of the earth. Because you have K, then you have the other part of K right here. So when the top part is going to be the cutting at the top, but the part that's coming in here signifies the melanin that's going to come through here from the opening left through here, and the light that's going to be coming up from the bottom or whatever. So when that happens right there, you gonna have this melanin cluster pushing down, and then you're gonna have the melanin coming through those openings and oozing its way down this way, and oozing this way off of the because on one hand I want to say I wouldn't say it like that, but this would probably be the most, because at first I was gonna say when that first thin layer of light cut that first the original cluster that was right there, and that light went up to the top, I was gonna say a drizzle of melanin came down and created a wall, which that probably happened. It probably that light probably came over the top, and then a drizzle of melanin probably came down here, and this reaction with the melanin with the light going up created a little wall on both sides. And then eventually when this go up and then the other one will come down, it'll leave a cut in that wall right there, and give making it to where melanin can ooze down through there and down on the edge of that wall, and melanin can come from the bottom or come from right here and go out this way by sticking to the bottom instead of oozing this way and coagulating and coming down. And in the event, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna have melanin coming in from right here and filling all this up and rounding off, and then you're gonna have melanin coming through here, rounding off, and you're gonna have light coming through up the top, and light coming up the top this way. And that process is gonna pretty much continue, because really, to go back to what I was saying about this pushing down, I think each time like when that first one pushed down and came right here, you'd have the first one right here with the tailbone, and then you had the top column of the vertebrae, which allows it to hang from the center. And once that pushed down, all that melanin gonna follow it and flank out that way and flank out that way. And then for each melanin cluster that come down, that same process continue until you have all that filled up with melanin. Now, the melanin that's gonna fill up down here, it's gonna while it's oozing down here, and while this light is coming up and being sucked through the top, at that point, that melanin is gonna still be moist due to the it's gonna be sticky and gooey. Go back to the Sodom and Gomorrah thing. Gomorrah, gu ma ra. The gu ma is the gu of the mother. Melanin is the feminine principle. It's the mother. It's the gu. So you have your gu ma, the gu mother, or the mother of the gu, and then you got ra, which is the light. So gu ma ra. What's gu ma ra? Gu ma ra is the gu of the mother that picks up the lights of Ra as it comes in contact with the light of Ra, or the light that's coming up the sides. Make sure y'all seeing this shit. Yo. So that light that's coming up through here and coming over the top is leaving particles of light on top of the melanin that's coming down to form the underworld. It's the little particles of light that it leave on top of the melanin is that's the Ra, the light. Ra. Another name for Horus is R-A-R. Ra backwards is A-R. When you read Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, you'll come to a point where they talk about the golden bush or the umbu bush. See, I even go a little further, take y'all somewhere real quick. We gotta get on grown people time right now though. And I don't know, ew, kindergarten time shit. Boo. The word boo, boo boo. When you call shit boo boo, right? That comes from this. You know, this gonna end up rounding off. But just work with me real quick. When it's all said and done, you're gonna have B U. Just like this pushes down when you use the restroom, you push out from the top of your stomach or whatever. Same thing here. You push the melanin out. Another word for melanin is T-cut or T-C-H-E-T. That's that in Kemet that means serpent. Well, that's one of the meanings. T-C-H-T. T-cut, T-cut, T-cut. The T that cuts left and right. I'll get into that a little later when we start dealing with the top. But then you can pronounce it shit or shoot or soot. Soot. Shoot. T-C-H-E-T. To shit. To shit. Shoot. Shit. You know what I'm saying? That's where that shit comes from. Your shit comes out like a spiral or a serpent. And the word shit or T-C-H-E-T means serpent. That's where the word comes from. So I said all that to say you'll hear about the Gladysberry bush or the sticky bush or the sticky bush or the burning bush that spoke to Moses. They're talking about this, my dear friends. This is the burn. It becomes the burning bush when the sun fires, after the sun gets created up here. Let me see what we got. Alright, so let's look at it first. Well, I can. Yeah, y'all should be able to see. It's gonna turn into the burning bush. But like I said, once all them 7 line up right here, and these 7 come down right here, all this is gonna be light. All that light that's at the base gonna be shooting up, and all that water that precipitated from out of the melanin coming up is gonna cause a mist. All this to be misty with the 7 lamps right here. Like I was just telling y'all, the B U. You know what I'm saying? The boo. That's really a D, but if you use the just act like you flip the B that way, or the B and the U, or whatever. The double, the 2, D U B U, Dubu, the double, Dubo. But you hear about the sticky bush, the sticker bush, the thorn bush, the thorn of the rose, the thorn on the rose. That's the specks of light. The sticky bush is literally the light sticking to the melanin, because the melanin is sticky. That the melanin that's left behind by the light that came up to the top is the footprints left behind. So the light going up the top is walking over the back, and you'll hear that. You'll hear different metaphorical mythological stories talking about where you see them talking about walking back, all the footprints of Buddha, like I was telling y'all in the last video, and the specks of light left behind on that sticky melanin that's coming through here is the sticky. It resembles thorns or sticky little pricks or little thorns on the sticky on a flower or sticky bush or whatever. So when you hear about the sticker bush and the bush of Gladysberry, it becomes the burning bush. Like I said, when the sun come back down here, so I came to a new conclusion. First I thought the sun came and started shooting down here as the earth went up, but now once the sun hits right here and it penetrates and consumes this whole spot, the sun being the father, I mean the sun being Heru, that little dot in there being the father, that's the son of the father becoming one in the center, this illuminating. The sun is gonna sit right here, and the earth is gonna push up, and as it pushes up, each one of these are gonna go through it. But as it's pushing up, the heat from the sun is permeating throughout the whole thing. So it's turned to, that's the burning bush. This is the bush, that's the fire they were speaking on with Moses and all that. So but to take it back, as a matter of fact, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that one up right now, so we can get into that. Oh well, nah, let me not do that shit. Let me be thorough about this shit. Oh shit. Because it's about to get a little deeper. Some little cool shit in a minute. Just hold your horses, people. I got you. That look tacky or whatever. So, as I was saying, take it back to the oh yeah, then the Sodom part, SODOM. Now, when you go to, if you break that word down, when you go to Hebrew, you got what you call, the beginning of that word is sod. But we could take it, like I said, we could interchange the vowels. Put the E in there, that's S-E-D, sedum, or said, seed, seed. A will be sad, I will be see it, Y will be see it, or say it, you know. O will be sod. And so then you got the is the first word, that's the first vibration uttered when all this creation process took place. So when everything popped off, the first thing that was the words of, they say the first words uttered by the spirit was So when you go to Hebrew, you got the yod, Y-O-D. The yod is the flame. It's represented by the little dot, the flame, the fire. So that's yod. Now we go back to sod. Okay, you look at the word sod, you're like, okay, I ain't getting nothing. But then you put the E in there, the seed. The dot of fire, little dot of fire, yod, or the seed of light, the little light seed right there. Remember, this is the seed basket of Neptes. The top of the thing is gonna become the seed basket for Neptes and Nephilim. So so you have the seed and the vibration, the seed and the and the Gumara or whatever. That's just at least how I see it. You know, you mix it around and get what you want. Maybe you'll get something different, but yeah. So like I said, so when that process continues and pushes all these and pushes all seven down, well, I want to at least break down one exchange. So when that one, take it back to the beginning, when this one goes up here and that little drizzle of melanin that's left behind, or that came in between the cracks as it was going up and as it was departing from this position, comes right here, catches that cuts that thread of melanin out at the pass, creates that stem, that tailbone right here, and a little slim pallet of melanin right here. Then you're gonna have the rest of the melanin coming in, filling it up from the top to the bottom, creating turning the light to the transforming the light to the salt, and then compressing the salt into a pillar of salt, Um, after that, that pillar of salt that's going from here, I'm trying to make it back to a circle. It's kind of lit out, but you get that pillar of light. That's, I mean, that part of the backbone. When this from here to here, once that's created, it's gonna push down and put this point. While it's pushing down, it's gonna be melanin coming to the top. By the time this point gets right here, the top right here, when it gets right here, it's gonna have a melanin palette just like the other one did, sitting on top of it. And that when the melanin that interacts with that thin layer of light right there, it's going to create the rest. It's going to create that vertebrae column that's going to push it all the way out and create the space in between that new melanin cluster that's forming and the first one to get pushed down here. So you'll have the new one right here, the vertebrae column, and the first one that was pushed down. Now while that's pushing down, remember you still got light up here, down here, that has to come pass through there and go through there. So when this right here pushes down, when that first one pushes down from right here and hangs right here, you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Add another one. I use that first one to create that one. So that first layer of light is gonna squeeze through that tube, and when it come up here, when it, you know, it'll probably squeeze through here, stop at the center, expand out back to the surface, cover that whole cluster of melanin right there. Just cluster of melanin now. And then after cover that whole thing, contract back and go through the tube and do the same thing up here, leaving this a ball of melanin with lights all over it or whatever. Or when the 7 went up, it could have been that little this part right here just sucking in the middle, and then this part going up over the top of this side, and this part going up over the top of this side. Then all of it traveling through here, coming back to the top and going through here and doing the same thing with that one. However the case, whatever the case may be, it's going to leave this with sweat from the moisture coming from the inside of the melanin cluster and covering up the top, and it's going to have the little particles of light left by the light that was traveling up here. The little residue that was left by the light traveling up here, it's going to be speckled all over the surface along with the water as that first one that shoots up here comes up here. So now you'll have probably ain't gonna get to see it that good anyway, but I still make a little effort. A gold melanin, I mean a chakra or melanin cluster is sitting right here with yellow specks on it, and then up here you'll have this is the Ani. So in the words, it'll be a center of light surrounded by a cluster of melanin. That's the ani, the ani, the an-I, the on-I. On is the light. The I symbolize it's, so when you hear the word A-N-I, and it's crazy because back to Michael Jackson, when you Annie, are you okay? And then my great grandmother name is Annie. And they say she was jet black with long curly black hair, Native American type hair, something like that. And when you go and look at the when you read up on Annie, the ancient Egypt light of the world, it's Annie with the black hair. Annie is Annie the ape, the black haired ape or whatever. What's Annie? An-I. And is the light. Then you got the I, the lowercase I. What's the lowercase I? The stem or the pillar with the little dot of light on the top of it. Or you get the on-I. The light that makes the eye, or that sits in the center like the eye with the black melanin around it as the hair. So it's like a light, a gold face with a black afro around it. That's the half Annie. What else? You know, that's all connected with the, like I said, with my grandmother and the whole Annie, are you okay? With the Michael Jackson thing, all that go together. It's all one and the same. So you have that one up here, the Ani. There's another papyrus in Egypt where you have Anubis facing back to back. Anubis and Ani back to back. Anubis being the dog facing one way, and then Annie being the ape facing the other way. The ape in Kemet is a symbol of fire or light, because the light or it's a symbol of the active masculine principle, because of the rapid motion of monkeys and how they never stop moving, or they always moving, or they always seem to be moving. The ancestors liken them to the light, because active light or light never stops moving. It's active in its nature is activity. That's why I be telling people, when you start dealing with talking about the masculine energy and the feminine energy, people start trying to have favorites, like, oh, the feminine is the greatest and the man is this. Then it's like, no, the feminine can't do shit, because the feminine can't do shit without the man. They need each other. The feminine can't do shit without the masculine energy, because the masculine energy is doing shit. Doing shit is what the masculine energy is synonymous with. Activity. Activity is to do shit. Active masculinity is needed in order for melanin to do anything. It's like, see, that's one thing I noticed about how much time we got before I get to rambling on and shit. Okay. See, one thing I noticed about the whole melanin thing. You know, we all be screaming melanin, 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 but nobody talks about light. Did you know it's light inside of melanin? That's the yin and the yang. But most people only talk about melanin. Oh, my melanin is, and especially the newcomers. But I ain't even talking about just the new people. I'm just talking about, if you look at, I'm not saying none of the OGs or the ancestors, or, I mean, I ain't saying, but none of the teachers and shit that came before this new grand awakening era or whatever wasn't talking about light, because, but I'm saying it was more, it's almost as if when we found out about melanin, everybody was so mesmerized, so focused on the melanin, nobody never talks about light. But really the light is the activity that moves the melanin. The melanin is like the clay on the potter's wheel, and the light is the potter. It's moving it's creating, it's like the light puts the blueprint inside the melanin, and the melanin shapes and forms or brings what the light tells it to bring it to fruition. It goes both ways. It's not a one over the other thing, or one's greater than the other one. They both serve their purpose. But you have that Pepper's text with where they say you got the ape or Ani facing one way, which I broke this down when I did the original formation of the earth, birth of the sun video, where I was telling y'all about the, because you got the one where they back to back, and then you got another one where they say you got the body of the ape and the head of the dog, army. And then you got another one where they back to back. This is all that is. The back to back. Anubis is a dark net or god or whatever. When they say back to back, they referring to the light of the darkness being on the outside and the light being in the middle. You know, the back-to-backness represents the light of Ani inside the darkness of Anubis, or Anpu, or Anup. In this case, it'd be Anup or whatever. Or you can look at it when, as this is Ani, on the light, and this is Anup up here, back to back, the darkness right here, back the light or whatever. So yeah, now this is what I wanted to, this is where it's gonna get a little interesting at right here. Now I'm gonna take y'all back to the 4th of July weekend. Show y'all something real quick. A few things. Matter of fact, before I take this down, let me hit y'all with that one first. Then I go into the pour the libations on y'all niggas. I want to show y'all something. I was reading this, the book I was telling y'all I was reading, African Origins of Biological Psychology. I hope y'all can see this shit, man, because this camera be on some bullshit. Yeah, African Origins of Biological Psychology by Richard D. King. Peace be upon the brother. He made the transition. Probably one of my family members. We got the same last name and shit. King. But yeah, I want to show y'all something. Now, it's a part in here in the back. There's a few pages where he got some ancient Egyptian text that he translating. And I like the way he done it, because there's certain parts in here where he'll tell you, well, he'll give you the sources where he got the translations from, but then there's certain parts in there where the shit that he's unsure of, he'll tell you, well, I'm not really sure about this, but I think this, or so that shows signs of a good scholar. But I want to show y'all something real quick. I'm gonna go to a lot of shit in here out of this little part I want to show y'all, but I might have to dedicate a whole video just to the translation part, because there's some lot of shit in here that I was cracking the codes on it. Now, if I was telling y'all when I went in that zone on 4th of July, it was with this right here, because I'm gonna read, because with what I'm finna read, I'm gonna read the comedic version, then I'm gonna read the definition, and then I'm gonna show you what I got out of it. I'm gonna show you my translation from it. You know what I'm saying? And I was in a zone that weekend, just sitting here scrambling these words, the words how they, at least in the way that they came via the Papyrus text. I was scrambling them up and mixing them up, and I was just coming up with all kind of different shit that was making sense. You know, it wasn't like I was just scrambling up shit, and a lot of shit was making corresponding to the translations that was given in the book. But then there was some shit that I was coming up with that was just like it was just making sense. But I'm gonna show you like this right here. Let me find it real quick. Here we go. All right, now you got this part right here. I'm gonna spell it out. Matter of fact, I might as well let y'all see it so you can. All right. So now. Now you see that right there. We're gonna deal with this right here. This the comedic breakdown, and this is the translation. All right, now this what I got out of it. This the translation that he got, and then this what I got when I looked at it. What I did, how I went about it. You got the N and the N. So what I was doing was sounding all the words out. So you got N and N. N and N would be ninin or nun or noon. Noon is the melanin, the dark water. It just don't have the U. It's missing the vowel. But nin, inning, or in, inside, in, noon. The melanin is in. And then you got Netaru. Now, Netaru, you got the Medu, the name of the hieroglyphics as a whole is called the Medu Netzer. MEDU. ME the mother, DU 2, the double mother, the net and the row. NT net, RW, net rule. Now I'm gonna come back to that, but I want to stay on subject real quick. But I'm gonna come back to that. So you got nin or new netaru, new netaru sharpen, new netaru ma sharpen, new netaru me sharpen, HD hard hit WT wit new netaru. Now I'm finna take you somewhere. The R and the L is interchangeable. So now watch this. The R, when you're dealing with the R, you're dealing with this right here. The R is just the back of the R. So when you're dealing with the R, you're dealing with the back of the R, and then the part that protrudes out. R coming up through that center. This will be the R part that sticks out, coming from out of the stem right there. So the R, when you're dealing with the R, you're dealing with everything that's coming from the top. That's on the top. For one, the R is the row. So you have all this is the net that catches the light, and then you have the the arms of the R, which are the rowers, they the oarsmen. Because while the circle is spinning, and it's like these are the paddles, are the rowers, the R's, the oars. Even the word, one of the words for paddle is oar, O-A-R-S, but oars, R's, the four oarsmen or paddlesmen of Jesus, the four horsemen. So that's the, when you're dealing with the R, you're dealing with the net, and with the stem at the bottom. So you're dealing with the net at the top and the R right here. When you replace it with the L, you're dealing with the center, because the L goes straight through the center. So to take it back here, you have the noon, which is basically just, when you're dealing with noon or new, you're dealing with the melanin, the new, the N. The N. 2 N's. So you got the N, noon, dark waters of noon, neath. And if you replace that R with an L, you got needle, knit, to, needle, knit to. So that'll be needle, the knit low, the low knit, knit, the bottom, this right here is neath. Nebates, noon is the moisture of it, the water. Then you got the dark water of noon. Then you got neath. You see that? Neath. Then you got NT, neath. Neath is the vulture. She's the nourisher of Heru. One of her attributes is she's a seamstress, the weaver. She sews. What you sew with? A needle. So you're dealing with the neat. See the W, the lowercase w, and really the W period, because the W is west. West is the underworld. Western Osiris, the westerner, he sinks into the underworld where he goes into his casket, or he goes into his death or transformation. He goes into the west, the underworld. This is the underworld, the W. Boom, boom. So when they say needle low, N-T-L-W, because this can be seen as the L too, because that's a needle as well, but you see that's like the capital L. From here, there, that's the capital L. But then the lowercase L is just a straight line. So when they say LW, low, knit, NT, knit low, needle. The needle is right here. It's the needle beneath. She's the weaver. It all goes. See how it all goes together? She's the weaver. She weaves. What's the metaphor for the weaving? The weaving. What you do when you weave? Are you knitting something? You taking the strings of the cloth and you knitting them, or you pulling them together. That's what happens when all the melanin, when the water. Because like remember at first all this is gooey and sticky because of the melanin, because of the moisture inside of the melanin. But when the melanin and see that's where the whole thing about Neith nourishing Heru comes from. Because these are like the breasts, and as you see it look like a bird. It's the it's the Mayat, it's the bird of Neith. But right now we're dealing with Neith. So when they say that Neith nourishes Heru from the breast, these are the breasts. The melanin is the breast. When the melanin first pours in the hill and pours in the hill from the top, it's filled with moisture. But the heat from the light is drawing, is causing the moisture to withdraw from the inside and push all the way up to the top of this, to where all the water is now, instead of being inside the melanin, it's sitting on the top of the melanin. So now, after the process of that takes place, you're gonna have, when all the water retracts from the center, that's gonna cause the whole melanin cluster to petrify, to dehydrate, petrify, and become hard, and turn into like a hard rock, or harden up. So not necessarily as stonish like this right here, because you had that center point playing, pushing that together. You had that concentration of light creating a salt pillar, and that's what made these like hard, more solid. Which you'll have solid parts of this too, because this is where all your rocks and your stones and stuff gonna be at in the earth when it's all said and done. So, but I said all that to say, it's gonna dehydrate it and turn it into a melanin cluster. Matter of fact, this will turn into all that water, when all that water pushes out from inside of the melanin and comes to the top. By the time it makes it to the top, it's gonna be sitting on the top of this here gonna be hard and petrified like rock. That's where you get your whole petar from. Petar, Peter, petrify. So when it's all said and done, you gonna have this right here is gonna be a solid rock with beads of sweat on top of it, and along with the particles of light that was left behind from the light that was once right here and traveled up and met with the melanin that was coming down. When the melanin met with that light, it left those particles of light. Those particles of light are representative of Heru. So when they tell you that Neith nourished Heru, that's what they're speaking about. That water, when that water coming to the top or the surface of those of what was once sticky, gooey melanin, when it comes to the top of that melanin, which became a hard rock, it's sitting on top of that rock, along with the flecks of gold, the little particles of gold light. So you'll have the water on top of the light. The water and the light on the top. The light being Horus, the water being the breast milk of the mother, or the nourishment commingling with the light. The Heru nourishing on the water is the melanin commingling with, the water commingling with the light on the surface of the melanin, and them mixing is, on one hand, it's like the light is being nourished by the melanin, but the melanin is mixing with the water. The light is being nourished by the water, but the water is mixing with the light, and that's where you get your water, turning your whole water into wine thing come from. So when it's all said and done, this right here, I have a perspiration or be covered in sweat that appears gold due to the light that's on the top of it as well. That's where the whole turning water into wine thing come from. Matter of fact, we right here, look. It's talking about it right here. Drunkenness, intoxication, mixed up. Well, it starts right here. He says, this I conclude from the fact that the same group of signs occurs in the last group of letters of the second register, where it reads, he gives to. The only meaning for the word that I know of that Ani, page 416, Crum. Well, Crum is where you got the translation from, I guess. But so many words that breaks down the drunkenness, intoxication, and mixed up. So the water mixing with the light causes it to seem as if this is sweating gold or sweating gold water. Now watch this. Let me find it real quick. catch it on this. Got 5 minutes left. Let me see. Okay. We got one right here. There's another one I want to hit y'all with too. Okay, you see this here? It's another translation. It said, the translation of it is the King, Lord of the two lands, Sambo, or you have the same, the bow, the middle. That's the King of the two lands. This point that makes the right there, yeah. That's that point. The bow. And then Keppara, the Neb Keppara will appear. Now this is what I got. When, W-N-N, when, or Wenu, or when, winner, S-W-T, got N-S-T, new sweat, Neb. Neb means, that's, okay, I'm going to show you how I break it down. When new sweat, Neb. Now that 3, see that's a 3 backwards. The third. So what I came to the conclusion, what I started doing, and it started panning out. I replaced that 3 with a C, since 3 is the third letter. Since C is the third letter of the alphabet, I replaced that 3 with a C. So you got when new sweat, when in, so you got the 3 in, when in, so it's like when new sweat, when new sweat, what, when new sweat, Neb. Neb means Lord, Neb means gold. Nubia comes from the word nub. Nub means gold. When new sweat gold, to cooey, to suey, sound like gooey, to chewy, what's chewy? Chewing on gum. If you chew gum, it's gooey, right? Chewy and gooey, to chewy. That's the gooey melanin. When new sweat gold, or when new sweat Neb to cooey, Neb bipper, sound like neberu, neb bipper, neberu. And you got a J with a C right here and an H with a C. The W, that's the, when you see that, so that's Jacka. Jicka, hicka, jick, hick, wa. Anytime you sit it with the JC and the HC, the jicka, that's the jack, the middle. Everything jacks up from the middle, or is jacked up or pushed up from the middle. But the part I want to focus on was with the new sweat. Really, the main part is this right here. I ain't really bust that down too much yet, but I will. That's another part in how I want to bust down too. I guess I got to start that on the next one. But just look at that. Yeah, you can look and say, oh, this nigga just capping. He don't know what the fuck he talking about. But that shit add up with what I'm. When new sweat Neb to cooey. This is new, the darkness. The sweat would be the moisture on the top of the the moisture coming from inside of the melanin. The melanin being the breast, the water being the nourishment or the breast milk, or similar to the breast milk, oozing up to the top, meeting up with the baby lights, baby particles of light, small particles of light, and it's about to go off. I'll continue from here when I get back. Y'all hold it down.